Hello! Welcome to A Week in Watches, episode 36. A weekly look back at all the watches, news, and stories from the industry. I am your host, Blake Bettner. It's been a really busy week this week. A lot of new releases, a lot of fun stuff to get to. Before we do, a quick shout out to this week's sponsor, Windup Watch Shop, the retail arm of Handwound. Stay tuned a little bit further in the episode, and we'll talk a little bit more about them, including an exclusive watch that just dropped into the shop from Citizen. Okay. We're going to kick things off this week from all the new releases from Audemars Piguet, AP, who threw everything at us this week but the kitchen sink. There's a lot of new Royal Oaks, some Code 1159s. Remember that watch? I'm happy to say the Code 1159 is maturing quite nicely, and it all kind of started with that star wheel. Me or Zach, somebody talked about it on one of these episodes a few weeks back. We'll link that one down below. I love that watch, I'm just going to be honest, and I'm not a guy that really thinks a lot about Audemars Piguet, but they also had some pretty cool releases this week, including some more really cool Code 1159 watches. Really complicated. Very complicated watches. In fact, the most complicated watch that AP has ever made went into a Code 1159 platform, the RD number 4. It's got all the complications, 23 of them in fact. Is that more than a G-Shock? Maybe? It might even be more than a G-Shock. We'll confirm that. Strike that if it's not true. You can get it with a solid dial and open work dial. Highly recommend the open work dial. Quite lovely. This is kind of like a greatest hits to their prior R&D watches. Brings a lot of the technology that we saw in the RD number 3, number 2, all the R&D watches. They're thin perpetual calendars, stuff like that. It's all the learnings are in there, and it shows. It's a pretty impressive looking watch, over the top in every single way, including price. It's over $1 million or something like that. But hey, it's pretty cool. Speaking of RD watches, remember the RD number 2? That was that super thin perpetual calendar from 2018. They released a production version of this watch this week. It's a mere 6.2 millimeters thick. This is a full perpetual calendar with moon phase at the top of the dial. They ditched the tapisserie pattern on this dial. It's just a fumet instead, which probably works better. There's a lot going on in this dial. Don't need to fussy it up with any textures or anything like that. So, but my favorite of the bunch is just a regular old jumbo style Royal Oak with a grain dial, a deep blue grain dial. It's lovely. I'm a simple guy. I don't need all those complications, you know. Put that AP down at 6 o'clock and I'm good to go. All really technically impressive stuff from AP, and all sure to be rare birds. At least with the people that I hang around with. I don't know. I don't think any of us will be having any of these. And if that sounds like you too, this next watch might be of more interest to you. It's from a brand called Méraud. They've released their second watch. Their first one was like 5 years ago, though. So this was kind of a random time to drop their second one, but they did. It's called the Antigua. I like this watch a lot. It's got a beautiful application of color in a black or kind of a sandy light colored dial, and it's a banger. Slaps. It's cool, okay? Yeah, it's colorful in all the right ways. It's about 40 millimeters in diameter, 13.5 thick. It's using a Landeron 248 movement. So because of this, there'll only be 100 of each colorway made. It's a hand-wound chronograph. You can see the movement through the back, which is quite lovely looking. It starts with the button at the top, and it stops with the button at the bottom, and resets with the button at the bottom. A little quirky, you know, we like that kind of stuff around here. So anyways, there's a ton of personality into this watch. Really cool things from Méraud. Hopefully we'll get a third watch from them sooner than 5 years out. But here's hoping. We'll have, we've got a lot more details, including some live hands-on shots of this watch that we will link down below. And now a word from our sponsor, Windup Watch Shop. This is the retail arm of Handwound. You can find all kinds of really cool watches from really great brands on the Windup Watch Shop. They've got accessories, they've got watch boxes, travel pouches, straps, all that kind of stuff, including new colors of the watch box, of the tool watch box to store your watches in. I love these things. I have all my watches in them, too many of them actually. But anyways, you can get them in red, black, green, blue now. So if you like these, be sure to go into the Windup Watch Shop and check them out. We also have a new exclusive watch in the shop this week. It is this Promaster diver with the ashtray case and a fully loomed dial. Really cool watch. The whole dial lights up. This watch just released and you can get it right now from the windupwatchshop.com. Go check it out. All right, moving on to some news from Seiko. We saw quite a few new releases from Seiko. I wanted to talk about some new releases in the King Seiko family. And they've got a 110th anniversary model that is 37 millimeters that features a beautiful tortoiseshell hexagonal hexagonal. It features a tortoiseshell hexagonal dial that's brown, face to dark at the edge. Really beautiful watch. Just 1,200 of these will be made. If you're not into the patterns and stuff like that, they've also got a regular production new watch that's 39 millimeters. This is the SPB, let's see here, 369, 371, and 373. These are a white, linen-ish, blue and green dials available, and they get a new movement. This is a 6R55, which is a updated version of the 6R35. Has a bumped power reserve to 3 days. What is that, 72 hours? Sounds about right. And it's 3 days written on the bottom of the dial, so you'll know. Props to Seiko. These are all really beautiful watches, and if you get into kind of the formal end of Seiko's releases, but the Presage line isn't quite your bag, I think you'll find a lot to love with these watches. Next, we have a new Vacheron Constantine overseas chronograph. Well, it's not a new watch, it's an existing watch, but it gets a new dial. This is the first time that this watch is accepting a hand dial colorway. So it's a silvery sunburst base with black subdials and a black chapter ring. Quite lovely, as this colorway tends to be on already good-looking chronographs, which the overseas chronograph certainly is. It is 42 millimeters in diameter, just under 14 thick. I'm not gonna make any comparisons to the Daytona here. Okay, we'll stay out of that realm. There's 3 integrated strap options, including a bracelet and a quick release system, so you can take them all off without a tool, which is kind of cool. It's just over 30 grand, which is about the street price. No, I said I wasn't gonna mention the Daytona. Okay, but hey, it pays to look that good, right? So if you like high-end chronographs, Vacheron has you covered here, and this is kind of the most sporty version of this watch that we've ever seen. They do a reverse Panadial, and that's the only other one that they've done that has this kind of contrast to it, at least in the new style of overseas chronograph, which moved the date down to 4:30. Remember, it used to be like up at 12 o'clock. I don't know if you like that or not, but... And closing this week out is the watch that's on my wrist, this Citizen Promaster Diver. They're all Promaster divers, I guess. But this one I like in particular because of the shape of the case. I believe they call it the ashtray. I like this watch a lot. This has a fully loomed dial. Who doesn't love a fully loomed dial? This has kind of a bright orange minute hand that pops off against it. Pops off. I know we're not supposed to use that word, but okay. This one really pops, okay? It's a really handsome dial, and it works well with this kind of gunmetal gray titanium ashtray case. This is just awesome stuff here. More of this stuff, please. It's got the Eco Drive movement from Citizen, and if you're the kind of person that they won't even let into a Vacheron boutique, this might be right up your alley. So check more of this out. As I mentioned in the sponsored bit, it is in the shop right now. Even pushing that aside, this is a really cool watch that you should be paying attention to. Hopefully they keep making more of these kind of things. I don't like it when Citizens tries to be too much like the Seiko style divers. I want the funky stuff. Give me the funky stuff. This is the funky stuff from Citizen. We need more of this kind of stuff. So check out more on this watch at the link below. And that is episode 36 of A Week in Watches. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you again next week. If you enjoy this content, please be sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. Thanks again to the Windup Watch Shop for bringing you this episode. Until next time. Take care.